So, was I wrong about Tesla? Because at the time that I'm recording this video and the market is not closed just yet, Tesla is up 25% in just the last week and almost 48% in the last month alone. So, did I misread it? Did I look at this thing wrong? Let's go ahead and break it down. So, we've got some explaining to do about Tesla because some things happen. But I will tell you this up front. One of the things that I pride myself on in real life and on YouTube, on television, and everywhere in between is I like to be transparent. I enjoy telling the truth. And when I am wrong and I make a mistake, I like being out front and telling you, hey, I made a mistake, we're wrong, we lost money, these things happen, right? I show y'all and tell y'all, hey, I lost money on Ulta. I told y'all that up front. I also tell you, hey, we made 700% on Nvidia, right? We talk about it, we show receipts and everything in between. So, were we wrong on Tesla? Was I wrong on Tesla? Not exactly. Not exactly, because you can only give yourself you only have rather the information that you have, and you have to listen to the entire clip. Okay, so we're gonna get to the entire clip, but I'm also gonna tell you what exactly happened and what is going on with Tesla right now, because the stock is on fire and there is something you should still know about the company as well. But first, let's talk about the positives about the company right now. So first, the stock is absolutely on fire, especially in the last 10 days or so. It has, again, been up on a tear in the last 10 days, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. But, you know, the stock market can be quite random. Here's the thing, though. About 8 days or so ago, really, on July 2nd, I posted a video of what I thought were the most disappointing stocks so far. Keyword, so far in 2024. The keyword is so far. And if you watch that video, which I would encourage you to do, I'll make sure that there's a card somewhere at the top of the screen. But go back and watch that video. At the very end, it was the last stock I talked about. I told you about Tesla and why I thought it was disappointing. Now, if you go back, and we'll put a chart on the screen here as well, I said that at the point that we did that video, you can go back and look at Tesla from the time that that video dropped on July 2nd. You'll see 6 months ago, from July 2nd all the way back to 6 months from that time would have been what was that, January 2nd? Tesla was not great. It was down 7%. And then when you compare it to its competitors, and in that video we talked about how it compared to other tech stocks, which many people compare to be a tech stock, that's not good. Compare that to the other Magnificent Seven companies and look at me in my face and tell me that negative 7% in a market where the S&P 500 is up double digits and Google and Amazon and Netflix and all these other companies are doing well, tell me that that's not disappointing. Given the information at that time, yes or no, is that disappointing? The answer would be yes, that is disappointing. However, what did I tell you at the end of the video? Because let me not retell you. Let's just go directly to that clip. So there's that. But again, what have you done for me lately? The stock has not done well. But that's not all time, right? Last 6 months and last year is not all time when it comes to the stock in and of itself. However, again, when you are looking at context and the stock in and of itself, if you consider Tesla a tech company, I'm looking at everything else in the tech space, right? And I'm looking at its peers. So when we talk about the Magnificent Seven, so that's Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, Meta, right? Netflix, all of them are doing well. So I'm looking at all you boys, and you're the only one that's negative, and you negative 20% almost. One of these is not like the others. So you are the sore thumb, and that's the one I'm going to circle, and that's the one that makes it more disappointing. Now, here's the thing. This I would consider discount, because Tesla just has that, there's something about it, fair or foul, could just be celebrity factor, where it could come back. It just could. But all right, now, why is Tesla doing well right now? One simple thing, and there's another thing you absolutely want to know that's going on too, is primarily for the deliveries. Now, they announced, or really, I think it's a research firm that came out and said that they smashed their deliveries. So they delivered more than 433,000 deliveries. They pushed out that many vehicles, which is great. I think it was expected they were going to push out, I think it was 410,000. So they beat the estimate by more than 20,000 vehicles. Great for Tesla. That is the reason why the stock is doing well. Now, here's the thing. Earnings is supposed to come out, I think, on July 22nd or 23rd, depending on who you're asking and what your app says. I saw July 22nd in some apps. CNBC said July 23rd. So one of those 2 days, you're going to hear about earnings. It is important to note that the last 3 quarters, they have missed earnings. Does that mean the stock is going to rise or fall? Honestly, I can't tell you. I do not know. There is something else to be, to circle. The New York Times came out and said today, actually just a few hours ago, that for the first time ever, Tesla did fall below 50%. They did fall below 50% market share, which is something that I did tell you guys was going to happen. I told you in that video that we just talked about them being a little disappointing, is the fact that that gap is closing. I didn't say it was closed. I said that in the last video. I didn't say it was closed, but it is closing. Right now, there are more than 100 different vehicles, electric vehicles, for people to choose from. It is not Tesla's game alone. Things are getting more crowded. And again, people have choices and decisions. It is not a monopoly, which is not great for consumers, but definitely isn't good for Tesla. I still think Tesla is the class leader, and they're going to be that way for the foreseeable future. Is just how much longer are they going to be able to hold on to it. But just like I told y'all in that video, and you guys just saw that clip, I thought back then, and I said that it was going to be at a what? Discount. And I didn't know why at the time. I said so because perhaps it's the celebrity factor. I didn't know that they were going to announce deliveries. I certainly wasn't going to guess and bet my money on whether or not they were going to do well on deliveries. And right now, I certainly would not bet or guess or put money on whether or not they're going to beat earnings and what the stock is going to do around that. That's not something I'm willing to risk my money on because I don't know what the stock is going to do around that. I don't know if the stock is going to continue to do well over the next 20 to 40 to 50 days. Something that I do, that I've consistently done with every single stock that we talk about here and what I do in my own portfolio, which you guys saw exactly what I did with my portfolio just last week. I use the exact same time frame. I like to take a bigger step back. I'm not overly concerned what happened over the last week. I'm not overly concerned about what happened over the last month, though this is great for Tesla investors. So if you continue to buy Tesla and you still hold it, I am happy for you. However, I always look the last 6 months and over the last year. So 6 months from now, a year from now, perhaps, maybe Tesla will find its way back on the list if it is consistent, consistent for long enough to be worthy of a list. And if it continues to be in the top 5% or even in the top 1% of the S&P 500. That is what it takes to be in my portfolio and to be consistent enough to be up there. You got to cross off a lot of lists to be up here, right? And that's not to say that, Tesla has to be better than everybody else or that my portfolio is, holier than thou or anything like that. It's not. Okay, my criteria doesn't have to be yours. Okay, you invest what you want to invest in, I invest what I want to invest in. My money don't hurt yours and vice versa. Okay, but that is the thing here. You can only use the information that you have at that particular time. But just like I said then, whether this is a celebrity factor or just general excitement that they did beat their deliveries, they are doing well right now in this moment in time. And we're going to see whether they are going to continue to do well here in the future or not. But again, earnings is around the corner. That is something that I would be a little concerned about. And we're going to see where they are going to go here. The next thing I would say is this. The stock market doesn't always follow logic, okay? I think most of us learned this really in 2021 with GameStop and AMC. Perhaps that was a hard lesson for some. Perhaps it was an easy lesson for others. But you can look at a company and say, hey, look, this doesn't make sense. This is not great. And this company is bankrupt and it does well anyway. Okay, or you can say that, hey, this company is disappointing, this is not doing well, and then all of a sudden the company takes off. We talked about this with, what was it? Was it Hertz? No, it was Carvana. It was Carvana almost a year ago now, where at the end of the year, it was one of the worst performing stocks. It was down 98%, All of a sudden, from December to January, the company was like up 800% out of absolutely nowhere because somebody came in and decided to like buy them out of bankruptcy. Who would have saw that coming? Who would have saw it coming? I had a whole video about how it was like one of the worst stocks in the world. Hey, we were wrong. It happens. But like I said back then, and I still stand by this, I would rather be wrong and a company make money than me be wrong and buy a company that loses. Right? I don't want to be that. Right? And that doesn't make me perfect because again, I still lost money on Ulta. Right? So I hate that for me, right? But I would rather miss on a good company than hop on a company that does absolutely terrible. And thankfully, I don't do that often, right? I do not hop on terrible companies too often. But I am not perfect. Nobody is. Do I look great by saying that that Tesla was disappointing and it turn around and tear it up in a week? No, I don't. I am not having fun right now, okay? But again, this does happen. It happens to everybody. I'm man enough to admit that, hey, yeah, it doesn't make me look all that great. But the truth is, it is something that happens. But given what we had and given the information that we have, if nothing else, it proves that I do not have a crystal ball. But if you want to know what other stocks I thought were disappointing at that point in time, you can check out this video right here.